What are the best sounding cars in GTA Online? I've done videos like this before and people have requested an update, even though there's hardly any new cars that sound great, and a lot of the cars that did sound good are now deleted off the website, but I present you the video anyway. The Sha V12 has always been known to everyone as a great sounding car, and it being at the price it's at, 116,000, it's literally just worth it to buy to hear the sound for yourself, even though you can already hear it in this video. All round great sounding car, I would say the highlight is the startup. Here's another cheap car, the Dominator. Free car as well, you can just get it off the street. And the Dominator also again does share the same sound with a few cars, but it has a weird factor where when you half throttle the car is so loud. Try it. Try half throttling or like 20% throttle. It will surprise you. The Corette Blackfin. This is, I would say, an underused car and a very confusing car. It sounds great in all departments, from startup to driving fast. But on very few revs, like 10% of the revs you do, you'll get a little pop and then you'll start wondering why it's not happening again. And when you actually start driving this car and you force the car to downshift, normally that's by handbraking, it's got a very glitched kind of robotic crackle, almost like anti-lag. A few cars have this, but this one has to sound the most strange to the ear. The XA21 is a very common good sounding car. People normally just buy this car because of the sound. It's not used much, but when it is used, it's used just for the sound. A lot of cars share a tweaked version of this sound, but what is not shared is when you let off the throttle and you get those little crackles. And the duration of the crackles is like 1 second or less than a second, just like you'd probably genuinely see on a supercar. It just sounds so good. And the AF Drafter, I hate describing it this way, but this car is, it just growls. There's a few cars that growl in the game, but there's no other way to describe the growl. Like, it is a growl, and you'll only understand if you hear it, which, here you go. The Biscus thrives in areas like the idling. I love the sound of the idling on this car. It actually sounds like the Pantera, but not as deep. You can hear the slight tinny raspiness from the exhaust, and especially when the car's screaming at full speed. Now the Veriera, a car that I think is really underused. Underrated, I'd say, definitely when you compare the sound to other cars. Now the only inconsistent part is the startup. But when you drive this car, you can hear a common theme of raspiness. So you can hear that little raspiness, and then when you let off the throttle, it also has that same raspiness, that consistency of sound you can hear throughout the car's rev range, and when you let off the throttle in the overrun as well. The Stratum, an understated pedestrian car that not many people have owned, but if you have owned it, you know it sounds amazing. It does have that subtle pedestrian startup, but then when you start driving this car, you'll realize it's super loud blow off. And with every shift with this car is consistent. I'm pretty sure you guys all know about the Frankenstein. And it's so hard to determine in between this and the Sterling GT of what the best sounding car in GTA is. But I still think the Sterling GT just about wins. But listen to the startup on this car. It's got that quick ignition and it's got that very nice firing order on idle. The car is consistent throughout as well. It sounds great revving. It sounds great letting off. It's an all-round great sounding car. It peaks in all aspects. Just listen to that. It's unfortunate that, you know, this sound is not in any other car. It would have been nice to have this in like the Tulip M100 or something. It's an amazing sounding car. And here we have the Hustler. It's rare to see the Hustler on the streets of Los Santos, but the sound of it, the sound is so... just listen to that. Listen to the fire up. It's so unique, so low, deep. The idle sounds amazing. It does kind of change tone when you start driving it. And it is like very high revving. But it still sounds so nice. The Hellfire is definitely not a unique sounding vehicle. There's a lot of vehicles that share the same sound. But it does have that supercharger whine, which again is not that unique. But pairing these two together does make the car very satisfying to drive. I don't even think I need to put this on the list. Everyone knows it's my favorite sounding car in the game. I put it in every recommendation video to buy this car, just for the sound. If you do want the best sound in GTA, and that's all you're after, buy this car. The main thing about it is the sound and the crackles. Such an amazing virtual sound. We've got to remember, these are virtual, these are not real cars. And yeah, I'm not going to go on and emphasize how good this sound is. If you want to purchase a car for sound, this one is the one. It's also HSWable. I think sometimes we forget to admire cars like the LG Retro just because they strive in so many areas that we forget it's actually a very nice sounding car. You can hear the smooth inline six. And when the exhaust pops at high revs, it actually pops twice, so you get the normal GTA synthetic sound and then you get the LG's own sound, so you get two pops, and that's what's very unique about the LG Retro. The Sultan Classic shares very similar sounds when it comes to the Sultan brand in the game. Got that low 4-cylinder sound. And the blow-off is very, very apparent. That is what makes this car rank on this list. It's that blow-off sound. The Gnut. This does again share a few sounds with cars like the Fugitive. But I love this low grunty V8 sound where no matter how much you're inputting on the throttle, it sounds tame and relaxed and low and loud. I think the Schlagen's got that great sound, which is also shared amongst a few cars. But in this case, it's a Schlagen. It's rare to get good looks and good sound. The ZR380 is a weird one because it sounds so nice, but you do kind of want that iconic V6 sound, and also all the delete of armor, which we thought we were going to get, but no, we got the Euros instead. But yeah, this has a very weirdly unique sound. Even though this car sounds really nice, it's not suited to the vehicle, but it still sounds okay, especially when you're letting off the throttle. You got the Slam Band Custom that have great V8 choppy sounds. And obviously it also shares the same sound as a Lost Slam Band. But if you like that cruiser V8 sound, this is the car for you. Now the Carbonizer does sound really good, but what appeals about this car is how loud it is. And I'm pretty sure we've always heard that background sound of GTA when you hear the Carbonizer driving past. It's become a sound effect, and it's the second loudest car in the game. I did do the painstaking effort of finding that out. Another car with that supercharger whine, and it happens to be the Buffalo STX, which already has so many great features. It looks amazing, and then they've got this sound as well. It could have been more unique, but it still adds up to be an amazing sounding car. The Mamba, another one that sounds so good, and that instant quick startup makes this car appeal so much. The Drift Camper just about made it on the list, and only for the startup. Startup is super loud, super unique, raspy, like all the ways you can describe an exhaust sound is all in one here. If you hear the Drifty C at low revs, you probably think, why have I put this on the list? It's the turbo sounds. The sound of the turbo spooling up in this car is so apparent and is the highlight of this car. Will you guys be buying any of these cars just for the sound? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. See you all in the next one.